Alright YouTube, got a quick video coming at you. I'm going to be replacing the idler arm and the center steering link there. Just going to do one side, the other side's a different, I don't know what it is honestly. It connects with the idler arm, but it goes up into something, up into the engine compartment. If I did a little more research I could tell you, but I didn't, so this is what I'm going to show you. You got to pull this castle nut on the other end of your tie rod on both sides. You're taking the center link, and then the castle nut on the bottom. The top castle nut's a 22 mil, the bottom one's a 19. You got to take both the cotter pins out. I'm replacing the idler arm on this side, so I don't need to take the nut off of this one, but I did have to do the other side. These bolts are 19 millimeters. There's a bolt and a nut, so you need a 19 mil wrench and something to remove it. I'm removing with my Milwaukee here. I also had a hard time with one of the lower cotter pins. I just drilled it out and I was able to pull it out quite easily after that, and I cracked them with the 19 mil. The 22 mils I had to join up two wrenches together to get them to give me enough torque to get it off. So yeah, just join your wrenches up. I think that's about it. Make sure you put the center link back in first, and then join the idler arm up onto the bottom of it, and then put your bolts through afterwards. That way you're not fighting any components to try and get them into their knuckles. Alright, I'll come back to you when it's done. Alright guys, so I got it out. It was not exactly easy. It took a lot of beating. I even used my demo hammer on it a little bit. I'm not changing my tie rods, so I didn't want to use heat and melt my boot. I also ended up hitting on the top of this, which you're not supposed to do. I'm going to have to deburr the top of this a little bit because I did widen it a tad. But it did end up coming out. This side wasn't as bad. I didn't hit it too much on the top. I tried hitting it on the nut first. I hit the side a bunch, and then I tapped it on the top with that smaller hammer over there. And it ended up coming loose. The other side is not so simple. This side, I had to break both of those links out. The one that's in that attachment to this side's idler arm, which goes up into the engine bay to whatever compartment that is, or component that is, excuse me. And then you really couldn't even hit on the top of this tie rod when it was in that knuckle. So really I just hit on that side of the knuckle and on that top piece. And you can see it ended up breaking when I was hitting it right here. Again, I didn't want to melt my boot. This is a newer tie rod. And obviously some PB Blaster helped out as well while I was tapping on it to kind of let it get in that joint, letting it sit, coming back to it a few times. Ended up breaking free. So yeah, like I said, you want to put the idler arms in first, and then you should be able to fish the tie rods in. I think I'm actually going to have to put this one back to where it goes, because I don't think I can fish it around there unless the truck was lifted. Then I could move the tire by hand and put it in place, but I'm just going to push it back. This way I'm not messing with any alignment, I'm not twisting the tie rods at all, so I shouldn't need an alignment when this is all done. Alright guys, I'll come back when it is actually all done. Alright guys, so we're all back together. Got our castle nuts back on with cotter pins on both sides. Same thing with the other side. This is everything that I ended up using. Cotter pin set. I used the 1/8 by 2-inch one and cut them a little bit. Pliers, snips, 22 and 19 millimeter wrenches. The 21 I used for extra leverage. 22 socket, 19 socket, file for deburring, the mallets for beating things, the drill for drilling out the cotter pin, and the impact gun for reattaching the 19 millimeters, PB Blaster, obviously. Torque specs are probably around 50 foot-pounds for these type of things. You're using a wrench, so you could use a socket on the bottom if you wanted to, but I just took them to pretty tight, and then once it passed one of the top ends of the castle, I made it go one more spin on the nut, so that's probably a quarter turn past, and then I shoved the cotter pins in. So that's it, guys. Hope it was helpful.